Hello everyone, Sasuke here, and today I'm gonna be showing how to do this COD weapons buyable wall COD weapons in Killing Floor 2 SDK. And so let's go right into it. Right, I already did this tutorial 2 times, but first I forgot to click the record button, so I didn't record this one, and this one I was muted. My microphone was muted, so let's try again. Third time is the best. Sorry for the English, I'm not American, it's not my native language, so might be some mistakes in some accents, wrong accents, and things like that. Right, first thing, you're gonna need to open your content browser, which you can open by clicking this thing right here, or pressing Ctrl Shift F. Go to actor classes, and we're gonna add the first thing, which is in actor, and trigger underscore pawns only, and trigger underscore Kf2 underscore minigame button. We're gonna find this trigger underscore dash activated. That's what we need. So we're gonna just drop this on your map right here, and we're gonna double click it. So here we can set the activation cost, basically how much dash you're gonna pay for the weapon. I'm gonna set this to 500, and we have this two boxes here which you need to check. This is the active game, which means you can activate, and this means that you can deactivate the button, so you can reactivate again after the activation time, which I normally set to 1. And reactivation I set just like that, just like 5, the default. It works fine. Here in trigger cylinder components, you can change the radius, like 50 or 100. You can set everything, any number you want to use. Usually just set this to 100, and that's basically it for this thing. Just close this, and when you open your Kismet by clicking this open Unreal Kismet, this green key button right here, you're gonna see these things right here. So make sure to select your trigger, because you need to. If you don't, you're not gonna see these two options right here. So just select your trigger and go to this, right click, new event using Kf trigger dash activated 30, which is this one. If we double click, is this one, dash activated 30. So just gonna go right here and set this minigame activation. That's what we want for this weapon. First thing, you're gonna set this max trigger count. If it's not 0, set it to 0. That's basically the number of times you can activate this trigger. So set it to 0, so it will be infinite basically, and set it to enable if you want to enable your trigger. No, basically it. Second thing, we're gonna need this green box right here, which is a collision volume. Not actually collision, but it's a volume. There's the collision volumes, lots of volumes, damage volumes. Like this one, this is the spawn volume, which means Zeds will spawn inside this green, actually blue. Yeah, it's blue box. All right. So how we do that? Just click on your trigger or anywhere around your trigger and click on this cube right here. This brushes cube, and you didn't see nothing. That's why. That's because your brush it's hide. So just press B, and here is your brush. You can go to this geometry mode and click on the faces and adjust this. I'm gonna set this to normal just for the tutorial. Set as the default cube, and with your cube selected, make sure you select your cube, and clicking these volumes right here, add volume, and we're gonna all this is all the volumes I talk about. We're gonna go to this trigger volume. That's what we want. Now you can deselect your box and press B. Deselect, press B. And here we have this green box right here. You can adjust after if you want, but anyway, just make sure you select this green box volume trigger, the trigger volume I mean, and right click, and same thing here. If you didn't select your volume, these two options will not appear, so make sure you select your trigger volume. So new event using trigger volume, it's a touch event. We're gonna set it to touch event, and that's basically it. We're gonna need on the map just this two things right here, this volume and the trigger. Now we're gonna need to do some things here with this trigger event right here, this touch trigger. We're gonna do the same thing as we did to this. So just go right here, set the max trigger count to 0, so it could be activated infinitely, basically, and set to enable. So it will be enable. Now we're gonna right click here, and we're gonna add palm give inventory, right? Just gonna set this, put this right here, and when we activate the trigger, we pay $500, and we're gonna activate this box right here, the give inventory. What that box will do? We set this box right here. It will clear the inventory, the player inventory. The player will lose everything he have in his inventory. And this, if he already had the weapon or something like that, it will be replaced. If we click on this add a new item, we can add a weapon that the player will get when activate this. Will be in the player added to the player inventory. So I gotta set, I don't know, maybe there's some things here that didn't work, like the patriarch minigun. It didn't work for players, so don't even need to try. F and fall. I'm gonna set this one. F and fall. You can put lots of weapons to add just by clicking here. That's not what we want now. I'm gonna remove this item, and here we have. If we activate, we're gonna give this F and fall, but for who? So we need to add a variable. It could be a player variable. If we set this all players, it will give the weapon to all players. If you uncheck, it's just to the player who activate the thing, or we can add this variable right here, this object. Just gonna set this right here, right? We have this if inventory. We'll give the f-info to the player. This variable here is player. That variable will be the player if the player is in this trigger. That's why we have the trigger. If the player is inside this green box right here, then this variable here, this object, will be player. Will be set to the same as this, player. So it's basically it. It should be working now. If we go here, I'm just gonna take this thing right here just to see where the trigger is, because in game it's everything just invisible like that, so we can see. So it's always good to have some visual things to show where is the trigger. I'm gonna play and please computer. We're almost there. Here we are, and here is the wooden thing. If we get closer, activation cost 500. If you press E, there it is, my weapons already in hands to shoot some Zs. That's it, basically it. But if you want, usually I just set another thing here, which is right click and action, misc, and draw text. If the player didn't have the enough space, inventory space for the item, he just not gonna get the item. He will spend the dosh, the 500 dosh that we set in the trigger, and we get nothing for it. So just, and there's nothing we can do about that. So I just put this draw text when the player touch this trigger, the same trigger volume we use in this give inventory. When the player touches this shit right here, it will show a text with the weapon name, which is, I can just click here in message text. Right here we can put everything, just fn fall, and I usually put like, I don't know how much it weighs. I'm gonna put 7 kilograms, just for examples, you know. And when the player touch this trigger, his trigger no is the trigger volume. It's right here. Why I just didn't, whatever. If the player touch this trigger volume, it will show this text right here, right? And if he untouch this trigger volume, it will hide the text, right? So another thing you have to do is set the font. Right here you have the font, which font you're gonna use. You can use some custom fonts, but if you just want a normal font, just go to your content browser, go in here, or just this thing right here, and go to Kf game and set here, just search for font, and here lots of fonts, just choose your font and you're ready to go. You're gonna use this font general right here. Just select the font, make sure this yellow frame is around your font, the font you're selected, right, just like that. And now you're just gonna select your draw text, and here we're gonna found this font, message font. Just click this green button right here, this green arrow, because it's assigned from the content browser, the one that we selected in the content browser. This font underscore general, just like this one, font underscore general. Now you can adjust your font scale here and the position on the screen where it's gonna shows up, and the colors right here. The first tutorial is set to red, the second to pink, and now you're gonna set to green, like a cyan. Cyan is a green, or it's more like a bluish green. I don't know. This thing right here. Just gonna okay. And oh, another thing, you want this text to appear just to the player who touches this trigger. I don't know how to do that, but probably I never tested to be fair. But I guess if we set these to be just one player, just the player who touched this thing, it will work. Just the player who touched this draw text right here, or this, or maybe if I just set these right here. Well, you can test if you want, if you needed this, but it's not needed. Anyway, it's working, and if you want to put your weapon model, just go to packages. Just gonna clear the search right here. Just to go to Kf game brute PC packages, weapons, and which weapon I said is the FN4. So go to FN4, weapon first person FN4 mesh, and here we have the 3D model. Just drag and drop, and can rotate it just like that. And that's it. Should be working now. Just gonna play from here and see what's gonna happen.
Smack you down!
Right here we have the FN fall. If we get closer, it will show text FN fall 7 kilograms. I don't know if it is really 7 kilograms, but just for tutorial purpose, it's 7. Activate, and here we have FN fall working pretty well, and that's basically it. If you have any answers or things like that, just comment on the comment section below the video, something like that, and that's it, I guess. I'm not gonna edit this shit, all this stuff, because I'm too lazy to do that. I'm just gonna go and stop the recording and upload just like that, because I don't give a shit about anything. 80 minutes. If you want to skip, I should pay. It didn't matter now, but you could skip to the part you want if you need to remember something. So that's it. Bye.